we're going to be converting this 2019 VW Crafter van into a camper van on a budget of only £1,000 and on a time frame of only 3 weeks.
This is a shorter version to this video. If you want a longer version that's a lot more in detail, click the link that'll be in the description down below. The first stage was assessing the panel work that was already in the van. To make this budget, we want to try and keep it as much as possible. The various bits that are broken are going to be changed, but for the most part, it's going to be kept. We get all the wood off the sides and the floor, treat any exposed metal with some anti-rust prevention paint, then insulated the floor and laid that back down because that was in good nick. It's amazing how much cleaning you'll do through this process, but we had to clean because it was time to get the bulkhead out. Straight simple, 36 bolts, and it come away from the wall.
Oh shit, hello. That's a bit big.
That's absolutely freaking amazing. Look at that, all the way through. Let's get in the front. Look, let's see. I can go. Hi guys. Let's move over to installing the windows. Fairly straightforward. Normally you'd angle grind this line here and this line here to get it nice and straight. We don't have an angle grinder. We're going to get a drill and just drill loads of little holes all the way along that line there, all the way along that line there, all the way through there. We're going to start with a small drill bit, do it all the way around, then up it to a large drill bit. Then we've got a metal jigsaw bit, and we're just going to go around. The aim is we need to be able to crimp this piece of metalwork together with the outside panel through a rubber seal that goes all the way around. There is other ways of doing it. This is just the way we chose. There's the first hole. The first hole's done. She's having an absolute meltdown. In hindsight, it would have been easier just to get an angle grinder. We didn't want to burn out the jigsaw going all the way around in one piece. This way just suited us. But it's just started raining. I'm dying to see what the other side of the van looks like. Then we basically got the jigsaw and played dot to dot all the way around, cutting around. It is extremely worth learning from my mistakes and cover the bottom of the van. We got a lot of metal shards, tiny little metal shards all over the bottom end of the paintwork, and they rusted by the next day. So we had all these little rust spots kicking around, and it took ages to clean them out. We left that one little thing at the top, then we're just going to nip that through with Danielle on the inside. As soon as this one's done, the window should be free. How cool is that? So what we've just done is filed down all the rough edges all the way around, both inside and out. It's time to start preparing the metalwork. A bit of anti-rust paint over the exposed edges, then the U-seal that come with the kit. Both of these windows we got from the actual wholesaler that supplies it to all the campervan building companies. Trade Glass UK. £300 both windows, all the sealants, all the seals, everything came in the kit with it. Put the seal over both edges, then put the primer around the metalwork on the outside, then put the silicone on that comes with it. It's the official glass fitting silicone. Put some pressure on it and leave it for 24 hours. Try and do one bead of silicone all the way around rather than loads of little patches. It works even better if you heat up the silicone. It was then time for a trip to IKEA. We wanted to get some ideas and pick up 3 Scorva mid-beams. They're the beams inside the middle of the IKEA beds. These mid-beams extend, so they'll go with any width of van, and I brought the brackets online. You can contact IKEA customer service and get them sent out for free. I needed them quick though. We marked out where we wanted the brackets to go, made the holes the right size, bolted them all in place on the strengthening beam, and then laid the mid-beams into the brackets.
That's how strong one beam is.
We then bolted on the front mid-beam, then the middle mid-beam, then we screwed on the slats that were going to support me. That is our king-size sideways bed.
I fit perfectly sideways on it.
Time to sound deaden and insulate. We have got sound deadening to take away a lot of the panel boom, which is going to stop a lot of the road noise coming through. We have got thermal liner, which is going to stop a lot of the heat and condensation throughout the van, and we've got thermal fleece to help retain the heat and keep the heat out in the summertime. Sound deadening needs to cover at least a third of the panel, so give it a good clean, a good degrease, peel back the sticky back, whack it straight back on. Do that all throughout the van, concentrating mainly on the wheel arches. That's where most of the sound from the road noise comes through. Well, look at this one, and now look at this one. You can really hear the difference, can't you? It's time to go over to the next step, which is this, the Dodomat thermo lining. This is a closed cell foam self-adhesive reflective barrier. This is what solely stops the condensation coming through. It stops the heat from transferring from outside to inside, meaning you get less condensation. This stuff goes over every single external panel throughout the entire van, so you do need quite a bit. I've got 2 rolls for this van. Let's do another flick test, shall we? Got this panel up here. It's got the sound deadening and the thermal lino. Flick test. Now if we go down to this panel here, we've got a fan to put in here, so I've not put anything on here yet, but listen. And again. Be careful not to cover anything that's going to cause general maintenance issues in the past. Through these holes, they're access holes to these bolts. They're to do with the runners for the sliding door. Don't cover them, because if you do need to do maintenance, it's just going to make your life a bit harder in the future. I'm quite chuffed with myself, because normally I'd make a mistake like that. The aim is to basically stuff it into every little nook and cranny. I've already started, you can see it up there. This is the Dodo Mat fleece. It's made from recycled plastic bottles, so it keeps the van eco-friendly. With these bits here, there's nowhere to physically tuck the insulation under. So what you do, you get your piece of fleece and you chop off the bit you need. You get your big piece of insulation, you line it up, you chop it to about the right size you need, and the joyers, it just tears really nicely. Contact adhesive. This is the Dodo Mat's contact adhesive. Just give it a nice good layer across the area. Leave it for a few seconds to go tacky, and then grab your insulation, line it up, and just stick it into place. Do that all throughout the van, then you can start adding the boarding back onto the van. This is the original boarding that came with the van, so again, saving an absolute fortune. We added some IKEA blinds to a piece of wood, and then put that piece of wood behind the main boarding of the window, so that way we've got a blind. We can start using the van right now. Let's see how dark it is when we fully close all the blinds. So there's that one done. And then we come over to this side. We've already got the blind on the front of the van, probably because we were in the van last night, parked up. And then that one's done. And this is pure daylight, and you can just about see, there's the wide angle lens. That light you can see at the front, that's for the internal locks and stuff. I'd say they're pretty blackout. We bought an eBay kit. We've got the 30 amp DC to DC non-isolated Victron charger, and a ton of wires and conduit and everything. Connected it to the battery. It's that cable there coming under that's connected underneath the main terminal. That now means this side is completely live. When it comes around to actually connecting it, I'll put the fuse in there, and that makes the whole system live. Screw the fuse down, run the cable safely hidden away all the way on there. It comes out there, and we're going to run it along the floorboards all the way across. We have covered it in this conduit just here and fitted the DC to DC Victron charger up here. That's all going to be encased in with the batteries, keeping it nice and safe, leaving space for solar panels, which will be on a later build. So subscribe for that. If I'm thick enough to do this, and anybody can do this. Secure the cable down with some clips. Once the positive going in is connected, connect the ground. The ground goes round to the negative on the battery terminal, and then to your ground point, wherever that may be. That is when you'll start to see the Bluetooth light flicker, and it will come on. You then go through the app and set it up to exactly your battery specifications. Then connect your positive over to a 60 amp fuse and back up into the charger. That is the charger fitted and completed. Before this is going to charge, you need this. This is a remote loop start, and it plugs it in just under there like that. This is what's going to tell the Victron when the battery has started. Plug it up. That is it, done. Built a compartment to go over it, so with enough space for another battery in there. That is nice, secure, solid, and it's secured in that side and on the other side, so it can't move around. We've taken a positive and negative of that straight up to the fuse box. We've got to tidy up the wiring, don't mind that. So now, when we put the diesel heater in, the fan, the lights, the USBs, everything, we can just connect it straight to that instead of having to mess around getting the batteries out. Now, we've left this side open because that will come straight up and blocked off by the piece of board that blocks the garage off. Done. Danielle's here to help us. Wave Danielle. She looks at me dead sarcastic. She's cracking on with some paintwork while I'm fitting the diesel heater. We've been under the van. That's where we go. We drilled the hole through there as a start line, put the turret plate on the top, and the way we're going to do it is different to everybody else. We've got a 64mm hole saw, and that basically goes over that one, and it completely drills out that full section there. Then over that one, again, completely drills that section out. Saves doing 114mm all the way around, and saves drilling really individual holes. This was only £80 off eBay, but once the holes were drilled, it was time to get the fuel tank. We had to slightly modify it, which you have to do with all of these. We have to drill an exit hole for the fuel pipe to come out of. It does come with all the fittings, so once you've drilled the right hole through following the instructions, put the little nozzle in, job's a good one. A bit of rust prevention treatment on the actual exposed metalwork, and then we installed the fuel tank onto the side of the van with the correct hoses, drilled a hole through the floor so that we can run the fuel pipe from the tank into the filter, into the pump, underneath the van up to the actual unit. Installed the turret plate, the exhaust and the air inlet onto the diesel heater. Drop that into place with an absolute ton of fire retardant silicone. Tighten that down perfectly. Once it was all connected up through the electrics and the external pipework, tested it out and my god, it was perfect. Not bad for an £80 diesel heater. Now it's time to get the Maxx air fan on the roof. There's the line we've drawn on the roof. We've built the framework to go around the turret for the inside. Now it's time to drill more holes. We're going to go on the outside line, drill a hole there on all the corners, go up onto the roof and cut it all out. We've made one hole bigger than the rest, and that's going to be the starting point for the jigsaw. Let's get everything on the roof to start cutting another hole in this van. We got this brand new for £200 off Facebook Marketplace. Give all the rough edges a good file. We've got to degrease the whole area all the way around, get it nice and clean, ready to adhere to the silicone. We've got to treat the exposed metal for rust. We'll leave all of those exposed edges to cure for around about half an hour before we hit the next stage. 522 Sikaflex all the way around it, generously. You get it screwed down. The one I used were these self-tapping metal screws, and all the way around the edge after you've put the silicone on, and it squishes it all out. I'm going to run my finger along that and get all the excess and put it all over the top of all the screws. I don't know how that's going to make a difference, but every other YouTuber seems to do it, so it must work. Just like that, like a glove. That's what the inside looks like. You can tell I've used enough Sikaflex because it's all starting to bore through. Let's get the actual fan on. You drop the fan into place, then you've got two holes, one there and one there. You have to have the fan open to access these holes. Inside there is a rubber grommet, and you just drop two screws that come with it, straighten those two and two on the other side too. And then that's it. Time for the satisfying peel. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Whoop, whoop. We done another thing. We done another thing. What? Let's just hope it doesn't rain. Wiring it up can't be any easier. You've got two wires. If you have a look down, further down, be careful, the black wire is not negative. The black wire is positive, and over here, the white wire is negative. And then over to the fuse box, just there. There's your remote control. The temperature is set at 26. So if the fan detects the temperature is higher than 26, it'll automatically come on or circulate the air. It'll do something like that. The room temperature currently is 15 degrees. It's closed and it's off. So if I press that, oh, it's opening and it's come on. Now, it may look like a lot's happened since that last clip, but let me quickly run you through it. We boarded off the garage. That was easy. We just cut a piece of plyboard, boof, bolted it straight in. We bolted it to the frames on the actual bed. Put these two seats in. These two seats will convert into another single bed. It's freshly painted, so I can't really play around with it too much. But underneath that one, that's where your diesel heater is. Underneath that one, that's where your Victron is. Underneath the garage is where the batteries and the fuse box actually is. It's all just framework that we've put in, nothing special. This area is where the sink's going to be, just solely so that we can have a tap that we can swivel around to outside, so that you can actually like wash off sand and stuff off your feet from outside. That's going to be another unit just there with the water tanks. Over here, it's just a long set of units. We're going to have the toilet, we're going to have the hob, we're going to have everything else just in that area just there. And we've just completed the main structure for the overhead storage. This is all, again, wet paint. It's going to look a lot different when it's actually finished. We're going to have like a trim piece that goes all the way around it. It's going to be vinyled. It's just going to look really nice when it's actually done. That is basically just built framework. As you can see, that's just built framework. The overhead took a little bit of maths and a bit of working out. Let me show you that. We've got one board just there. See the length of wood? That stretches the full length. We've got another one just there, and then that attaches to the ceiling. That one attaches to the actual back of the van. We've got the fascia of the actual overhead storage running the full way, and the base of it, and another piece of wood inch by inch, securing them both together on the inside of the actual unit. We've got some uprights just there with latches and cabinet hinges, and they close and they do click in together. It's just wet paint, so I'm not going to do it just now. We traced out a piece of cardboard and made the end plates for both this end and the other end. We've still got loads to do to it. We've got to block them all the different sections off. We've got the trim pieces, but it's looking together. So wow, at the minute I have no idea what I actually just said. They're looking yeah, Anyway, let's move on. We added a lick of paint and DC fix to the overhead storage, and we fitted a small little chest of drawers in the bottom of the bed. We added some more Dodo mat fleece to the ceiling of the van, and then got some 3mm hardboard, painted it up black, added some little LED lights into it. Again, it's simple as positive to positive, negative to negative, run it through to a switch on the positive line, straight to the fuse box. A little trick before fitting the cowl, we fitted little magnets onto the corners on the inside of the cowl. So on the outside, we can put a magnetic, like thermal sheet over the front of it. That's the magnets on the outside. They're not secured, they're just magneted on through the other side. They've been no nails done. Bish, bash, bosh. I'll admit it, I'm not too happy with the finish of the ceiling, but I'll change that at a later date, so subscribe to see that. The next day came around and I started to work on the actual positioning of all the drawers, building the framework for the front of the fascias for everything. We got some 6mm plywood, cut it to shape to make the front fascia, painted it up black, and then glued and screwed it into place. Next, we've got under overhead storage counter lights. These are LED lights, we've got 3 of them. They're easy enough to install. Just double-sided sticky tape up. The wire just tucks up straight through a hole and it comes down here. Label everything. We've got overhead and we've got ceiling lights coming down there. Just onto dead end wires because they're going to have to go through to the fuse box. Now to trim the countertop for there, we got a bargain. IKEA leftover reserves, £5 for this big sheet here. We've just got to cut it down to size and then it should just screw straight on with some little hinge brackets that we've dotted around the top. It's starting to come together. This is not staying white, this is going the same colour as these. Again, DC fix. Danielle has already done one of the drawers with a leather handle. How cool does that look? Oh, we've got one drawer in, and again, just with a couple of hinges just there. Both. Just got to stick some latches on. The problem is, I've just noticed, I didn't put my shelf in. That's typical the way I tend to do things, isn't it? The EcoFlow died, so I've put that on charge. While it's a beautiful sunny day, I've got that on the solar charger for an hour. We're going to work on the table now because we've still got power in the electric screwdriver. We're going to do like the old transporters have. They have the bar that goes across and the table that clips onto it. So that's what we're going to look at now. We've got the bar just there. We're going to keep the full length of the bar that way. It's going just under there. If we want to move the table over that way, if I'm sitting over there and nobody else is here, we can do that. If I want to keep it in the central so 2 of us can sit there, we can do that. The way it works, we've got a couple of clips, one like that, one like that. They go in the end of the bars and fasten to the back wall. This piece goes on the middle of the bar just to help a bit of support through the middle. These bits over here clip onto the actual table or screw onto the actual table, and then when the table gets stored, it clips onto there. Boom. That's how it stays fastened to the bar. If you didn't understand it to start with, there's the bar. It's securely fastened to that backboard. These clips clip on the back of the table, that piece we've marked out just there. They go underneath and screw from underneath, so there is a little hook just there. So when the table is in use, it just hooks onto there. We've got a table leg that goes in the middle. We have a table. When it comes round time to turn it into a single bed, we unclip it off there and drop it straight down there. We've got some bits of wood that we're going to tidy up and secure down there so the bed will sit comfortably straight on top of them. We went to B&Q, they had X-Display sink and tap, so we picked them up for a £5, some black hammerite paint, and decided to paint them black. Why not? I found a nice piece of driftwood on a beach in Anglesey on a lovely little weekend away with Danielle, so I decided to make it into a keychain for inside the van. I want this van to be filled with loads of little bits like that, just for memories, that's all. She DC fixed the worktop for us anyway. Danielle's just loads better at that than me. I cracked on with making the upright storage things to go around the kitchen area. With just some pieces and bits and bobs we had lying around, I decided to throw it together. We'll paint that and DC fix it later. Here's a top tip for you. All the wood that you see throughout the van was mainly all free wood. You go to IKEA, go to the return section, and outside, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, just after 10 o'clock's the best time I've seen, you can go into a crate that's on the outside, which is free wood. If you return a wardrobe because it's got a broken panel, they just chuck all the good panels inside this crate. You can take it as and when you please. It's completely free. It's cheaper for you to take it than for them to dispose of it. We've got this one, wired exactly the same. The overhead lights. I'm well chuffed with that. Got another thing completed. Danielle just come back from the shop. She went to B&Q and she found a scrap wood pile outside. So she picked up a worktop for the sink. So I've lined the sink up on there. Obviously cut it to size, sanded all the areas down, marked out the sink. I only done it by quite easily laying it upside down where I wanted, and then going in 2.5 centimeters. And in theory, that should be enough for the sink to just sit straight in. Picked up some cheap lino flooring, 25 quid for an offcut, so that'll be going in. We've got a headboard. We've got to modify that because that's going to go up that side of the headboard just there. We've got loads of more bits of wood to finish making shelves and corner units and just loads of bits and pieces. Some more DC fix, but this is what we've recently just done. You haven't seen how we've done it, so I'll quickly walk you through how we fitted a cold water tap, a cold water system to a mixer tap in a deep dish sink, and how we saved an absolute fortune doing it. First off, the sink, £5 X display from B&Q. The tap, £8 Facebook Marketplace. Perfect. We spray painted it nice and black, like a satin black, but underneath we've obviously got the weight there. That is so you can pull the tap out. As you can tell, look, see? Boo, 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 boo. Perfect. We've got these 2 little 10-litre tanks. This is just basic bog standard cold water system. Now, because it is a mixer tap, if you turn the cold on and you've got the cold water coming through perfectly fine, and you turn it to hot, you're going to get the cold water go through the hot. So we've had to cap the hot side of the actual unit just there. That is the cold inlet. So it comes with a plastic tube, 15mm. It's a plastic push fit to that fitting just there. That then runs all the way down into our cold water freshwater tank, where there's a submersible pump that runs on a electric cable that comes all the way out. We've got it rigged up to a switch. I think I'm going to change the submersible pump because, quite frankly, it isn't that powerful. The wastewater comes out the bottom of the sink straight down into the grey water tank. We turn that on, we wait for a whole few seconds, and we have water. Now, if we press that button just there, whee, and then we can pull it out and move it around and do what we want. Next job doesn't involve me eating a pencil, but in fact, these pieces are little like templates to go up in that corner there. We put the templates up and then realised we need to go a little bit taller, and we've marked out on this exactly how much we need to do. Traced it out onto a new piece of wood, cut that, and hopefully that should fit. Then we can build some nice little plant shelvy sort of stuff into it. Trim bits have got some white on, trim bits got some varnish on. And while they're drying, we've got these uber cool leather handles. I'm going to mark them out to where they need to go on here. Now we want them to kind of hang down ever so slightly, just like that. That'll look cool. They look cool down there, so I'm pretty sure they're going to look cool up here too. I'm 35. No, I'm 36. I'm that old, I can't remember my age. I think this is cool, so it probably isn't. Like a glove, and just a quick yeah. Proper powering through this now. Here's a top tip. Best way to cut foam. This is an IKEA mattress, just a foam bog standard mattress, and we just chop it up into pieces. You can see one piece there, and this piece that I'm cutting is going to go on the back there. This is going to make the single bed. Best way to cut it is an electric bread knife. I broke mine last time, so I've just got a normal one. Never ever build a van in winter. It started raining, they've had to come in to dry. While it's raining, let's try out the bed. So that goes on there perfectly fine. Backrest number 1 comes over and goes, it's not neat, it's not tidy, it is what it is. Backrest number 2 comes out, nice snug fit, and that should snugly fit in there, but I think it's a bit big. Nope, I just needed to move that one over a little bit, but there you go, full on single bed. The fatty test. I fit on it quite nicely. Look, see? Whoa. This would be perfect for one of the kids when they come with us. Home bargains, we found some tiles, then I started working on the kitchen sink unit, trying to get all the wood cut, shaped, perfectly trimmed, and added the heater vent and the switch for the sink to turn on and off. Light switch for the sink? The one-way switch, one-port switch for the light. I know what I mean. Now we've got some free wood from IKEA. So this is a wardrobe back panel or side panel, but we've marked out the line for another one of those doors over the back panel. This one's to cover the toilet door. Then we're going to do the other 2 doors, get them hinged on, get them latched on, get them DC fixed so they look just like that. Then that unit should be complete minus a divider just there and a shelf in there. And we're going to make those shelves out of the same wood, the free IKEA wardrobe fake wood stuff. Like I've said, this is only a budget build. That will get changed in a later build, so make sure you subscribe. There you go. Once in life, this was a wardrobe door from IKEA. How nice does that look? We've got the tiles up, We've got this corner unit here for a few little plants and a few little bits and bobs. We built this unit up. We built it up a few days ago, and then we took it down to get it painted, and we DC fixed these. And the white accent on the black just suits it, just lightens it up that touch more. And that is so solid in there. Look at how nice it looks from the other side of the van. Boof. Up to now, it's looking good. They've been painted. We've got all the doors on there. I have to lift these doors up slightly. Although they do open perfectly fine, they catch on the rug, which means they're going to catch on the rug when the flooring's down. So I've got to lift them up nicely. Underneath there, we've got a shelf. We put a shelf under there. We've put all the cooking stuff and a bit of bobs up there. We've got down the bottom the air fryer, the coffee machine, and the toaster. We've got the drone and shoes and stuff down there at the moment. That is all going to change location eventually. Up here, just odds and sod bits and pieces for the build. Over this side, our power bank is the All Powers S2000. Again, we can solar charge that with the drone. We've got the cover for the front windscreen, which we're going to change. We're going to put sort of a curtain up instead of that. But anyway, that's done. Over here, we've started working on this. This is a bit awkward. We've got a little fridge. This is just a 12-volt fridge, but it's nice and secure there. That runs to a cigarette lighter charger cable, which is down here somewhere, which means we've got a cupboard there, which we've still got the floor to do, and the fascia and all that sort of stuff. We've moved the wastewater and the fresh water down here. We've got to extend the cable for the switch for the sink, and we've just got loads of bits of wiring stuff to do right now. We've got a bigger fuse box just here. We've got to wire that up. There was more wires to a fuse box than I originally planned, but this was the sole reason why we've just left the wires out like this, because we didn't have a full plan. The top tip for building a camper van is to basically plan it properly, otherwise you don't fall into this. We tend to find that the majority of our building is repairing the stuff or adjusting the stuff we've already put in. It's amazing how much hidden weight you've actually got inside the camper van that you don't actually think about. How heavy is 10 meters? I think this was actually 50 meters of cable. That adds some weight into it. You don't tend to consider that weight into the actual build. Same with a box of screws. How heavy is a box of screws? Well, times that by 7, because that's how many box of screws have gone into this van. I think I'm going to need about that much. I'll get a little bit more just to be safe. I can always trim it, but it's just awkward to add on to it. It's amazing how much, how heavy is a big tin of paint. We went through, I think, 6 litres of white all the way around. Then the added black paint that we've added all the way around, primers on the bare plastic and all that sort of stuff. It all adds up, and it's something you don't actually think about. And with the fridge being a 12-volt fridge and it runs off a standard 12-volt connector, it uses quite a lot of energy. So we've got the normal 12-volt connector. It'll plug in there. If we have it on all the time, we're basically going to have no electric. I've just found out the fridge has actually got an on-off on it. Now, sometimes when you turn it off, it still draws some sort of electricity. So let's test it, shall we? So we've got it on, plugged into the S2000 on DC, and it's drawing 45 watts. If we turn it off, both turns the screen off, turns all the lights off, and the wattage is dropping. It's dropping. Please say 0. So I don't need to add a switch. I can just turn it on and off from the front. Now I know that, that'll make things less complicated wiring wise. I can just plug in the 12-volt socket and just plug it in that way. We then find a suitable place for the 12-volt socket for the fridge, thread the cables through that we've already connected to the 12-volt. With it wired into the fuse box, the light's actually on, which means there is power going to the fridge. So let's give it a go, shall we? We should just go down, press the on button. Oh, the light comes on. Temperature's on. Yes! We then secure it into its housing area where it's going to be permanently, and we start designing the fascia front for this unit. This is the exciting bit. This is the last fascia we need to actually build for this unit. We get a nice big design on it, we get it cut. This included a hole for the cupboard door, we've got a hole for an access panel underneath, and the hole that fits the fridge. And we make sure it fits into place perfectly fine, sand down a few corners to make it fit that a little bit better, then get it back off and get it painted. We're going to go through a couple of different coats of black on this. While that's drying, we'll crack on with this. And it is a table storage system, so it's nice and secure now on the back door. A couple of latches there and there. Table just lifts out. Right, let's get this on. Ooh, it's coming together. It's a bit dusty. It needs another coat over some of the screw holes that I've done. But, ooh, the fridge opens up perfectly fine. Turns on perfectly fine. Got to do a door for there for that unit, and I've got to do a cubby box at the bottom. Now the reason I've done this at the bottom is so that if I need to access the heater and all this random stuff that's under there, I can easily just pop that off, sort out what I need to sort out, pop it back on. Plus, I'm going to have a vent hole in there for the heater to come out there, as well as that one there. I've got enough space at the top here. Now, all the plumbing's behind there, so I can't really put a unit in there. But I've got enough space there to stick something decorative. I'm in a VW Crafter. I wonder if a Ford bottle opener will work. And today is going to be the last day of our van conversion. Hopefully. Time to start the flooring. Top tip, this was just an offcut from a shop. Look at that, 25 quid, 4'11" by 11 foot. It's just a case of measure out what we need and cut it to size. Stick it down with some spray glue. And the joy with lino is you can just simply cut it with a pair of scissors. Chop away little tiny corners to get around the little nooks and crannies. But you do make a mess. I must admit, it's no showroom quality, but God, I'm so chuffed with myself for the amount of work that we've put into this and for what it's actually turned out to be like. Everything I wanted was in it. Everything that Danielle wanted is in it. And it looks pretty good compared to what it was. Just a bare skeleton van, and I am so stoked with this. Last few bits with decals just through the door, over the back of the bed. We've got the curtains fitted from IKEA Poland curtains. We've got the air fryer and the coffee machine, and with some amazing plants. We can't forget the VW Gonk. We need a name for him. We've got some USB chargers. We've got some more trinkets and bits and bobs kicking around just to make this van look that little bit more homely. The final touch, the dubbed out community sticker. And that is how I built this camper van to live in full time. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you're new around here, please subscribe.